We're here with Brayden, checking out this guy. This is from my dad's 1970s, 76.
Wow.
Carbon County.
Carbon County. Okay.
You're in Summit County,
I am
aren't
in
you?
Summit County, yes.
So it is big.
It is big.
191 is this guy right here.
He's a bit. The score says one thing. The in-person mass is another thing.
It's so true.
It's crazy.
I'm just gonna record the rest like this. He's big.
He is big.
That was my inheritance. I inherited a nice deer mount.
It can't be that. That's what I'd ask for too. But my dad just skull capped everything. So
okay.
That's all we got is a couple antlers in the basement, and
dude,
that's it.
So you hunt primarily Utah DIY. It was your first season last year.
First archery season.
Oh, okay.
So like I guess to get into it, my family always grew up hunting. In somewhat, it was very different in that like my grandpa and my dad, they were hunting for meat because otherwise they wouldn't be eating anything. Like it was their food. It was their food storage. Some of the old timers will tell me stories, and this is not. I'm not naming any names or anybody, but they'd tell me about how they'd sometimes go and detach their tags and go get another animal because otherwise they wouldn't have food for the winter. Like that's what it turned into. That's what it was, survival. And we think about that, but it really wasn't that long ago. We do it a little different now. We don't necessarily need it as much. We're kind of spoiled. And so I grew up rifle hunting, doing deer pushes, which is like, I tell people from Utah and they're like, that's a foreign concept to them. They're like, you did a what? But we just push through trees and hunt deer with rifles. And that was what we did until the last couple of years. As you mentioned, like I hunted archery for the first time last year, which was a learning experience.
For sure. Yeah. Deer pushes are really fun. We did an elk push actually up in Idaho.
Okay.
Big, thick, probably 15 tall weeds.
Wow.
And it was kind of that one of those first hunts my son joined. And I was like sending him off into the darkness. And I'm like, go push him. And he's like, okay. And he pushed him and they came out, got a shot off in probably 10, 15 minutes.
Wow.
And he was just, sometimes being part of the hunt is just as fun as pulling the trigger.
Definitely. And luckily I got to grow up doing that,
Yeah.
which I felt like I was a piece of it.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
My dad was a big hunter. I've got an elk behind me. You can kind of see this is his. And he didn't pass it along to me. I only went on my first hunt when I was probably 27. Terrible elk hunt, driving around in a truck in the snow. Couldn't find him. Got a shot, missed. And I was like, well, that's hunting. Like, this is kind of dumb. And never really caught the spirit of it. So, but your first archery season, what would you say like was just the biggest learning starting off?
There's a lot of learnings we could get into, and we can tell that full story. I think the biggest one was patience for me. I got very humbled in that. I'll dive into like my whole archery thing. If you have questions, we can pause. I'll try and keep it generally kind of quick. So archery, hadn't really done it before. The year before I started hunting, I had a bow and we went to tack and we shot at tack. And I do have to say archery is a lot easier when you don't care exactly about putting it in a little tiny hole and you're just like, I just want to hit foam.
Yes.
It was a lot more fun when I didn't care that and my gear wasn't dialed. And since then it's gotten a little harder for me. But I decided I wanted to do archery hunting. I went and got a new bow. I went and got ready for the season, and I'm not going to name any names but like so green, I didn't know anything. I happen to work in the hunting industry, so I have a few connections, and I went and I thought I knew enough about it from my one bow because it was a super cheap bow, so you can adjust everything at like all sorts of different ways and get it set to you, which we'd done. My new bow was not that way. And so it kind of had a much smaller range of what it could be set. I didn't know that when I ordered it. I got some accessories that went with it. I got some arrows that went with it. And I was kind of, while it is a very nice bow, I was trying to do it on a budget. So I was using some connections and hopefully getting some stuff. And so I got it set up. I thought we were good. I got it set up with a very short amount of time before the hunting season. I would not recommend that. I had a couple weeks and I was shooting the crap out of it for a couple weeks, like just trying to make sure I had everything set. Last couple days before I went to broadhead test and just make sure my broadheads were flying good. And which
one did you go with? Fixed or mechanical? Certain brand?
At this point, I was using a fixed blade broadhead. I had QAD broadheads that I was using. That I can't remember the name of their
Exodus, probably.
Yeah, their Exodus. Yep. So I had their Exodus. Went to draw. I never actually shot an animal with the Exodus broadhead, so I can't say. I'm sure they're great. I can't say how good they are. Went to draw back, and it had happened a couple times before, but I was shooting a little further away. I didn't know what was happening, but I drew back, and my arrow popped off the string.
Oh, that is the worst.
So I'm like full draw, arrow popped off the string. It had happened a couple times before. Well, this time I was so focused on it. I drew back and my arrow started to fall, and it may not have fallen all the way, but I jumped back and bumped my release and dry fired my bow because the arrow had popped off.
Oh,
and this is like the night before the archery season starts.
Wow.
And I have some deer that I've been daydreaming of going and hunting for almost a month now. And I dry fire my bow, cams are bent, like no way I'm doing anything with that bow the next day.
No way.
So,
dude,
like, this is my intro to archery hunting. I sat on my porch with my head in my hands for like 20 minutes and was just like, what am I going to do? Because I wanted, like, more than anything, wanted to go hunt.
And you're new at archery, but you're good at hunting because you're after a certain animal. Yeah. You know, from my view, I was just happy to kill something. I mean, dude, I think I shot 6 does before my first buck because I was just like, I just want the experience.
Yeah. I'd killed, so with a rifle, I'd killed like, probably 6 deer. 2 of them, like, what I would consider very good deer for your average person.
Sure.
And the other thing about my tag is I was hunting the dedicated tag here in Utah. For those that don't know, it allows you to hunt all of the seasons. So I could do archery, muzzleloader, early rifle, late rifle. So I wasn't in that big of a rush to get an animal. I had a specific animal I wanted. And then first day right before, I try fire my bow and just like so upset about it. Right.
The night before.
I took it into the bow shop. They were really good and got things kind of fixed that day, but I had 2 days to hunt, and then I was gone on a trip for a week, so I couldn't hunt. And so I was like, just take it, I'll forget about it. My brother had an extra bow that's like an older Hoyt that we got set up that night so I could go chase some animals. Like,
wow.
I would again not recommend doing that. I think instead of having like an official sight tape or anything, I just hash marked everything 20 to 60 and was like, it's close enough, we're just gonna send it.
Yeah, there you go.
So went out, tried to hunt the morning, didn't really get an opportunity. Hunted that evening with the Hoyt, and I actually let an arrow fly on a deer.
No way. How'd you feel about it?
It was interesting. So I had this one deer that I was kind of targeting that was the top of my list, but at the same time I was like, I'm new to archery, so I'll shoot anything that's decent. Yeah. And this deer, the way it happened was it started one of our like fall monsoons roll through. So I mean, thunder, lightning. I'm sitting tucked under a bush, huddled there, and this deer runs through, and I'd kind of ranged, but not great at where, because one deer came through before him. I'd kind of ranged where he was. I thought he was a little bit further than he actually was, and I drew back and freaking out, right? I'm freezing because I'm in a rainstorm. Deer's running through that I wasn't expecting. I was watching him at 120 yards thinking there's no way he's coming over here, and he happened to run by at 20.
Jeez.
And
Wow.
my pins are all set further away because I'm expecting if I get a shot, it's going to be further. So I just kind of guessed and sent it right over his back. Like,
Oh man. And like, what did that feel like? Even though,
I'll be honest, I was not upset at all. Like,
really, why is that?
I say that, and people were like, well, why were you not upset? And first of all, I had switched bows the day before. Second of all, I was kind of expecting the deer to come through further, so it was that expectation. But part of the reason I wanted the dedicated tag was to hunt more, and this was day one.
Yeah.
And like,
That's pretty good for day one.
yeah, I do have to say I got very humbled the rest of the season because I was like, oh, I'm getting an opportunity my first day. It's going to be super great. I'll get plenty of opportunities. And that did not happen. But I was more just excited at the fact that I got close enough to a deer that I had an opportunity to fling an arrow.
That is so.
And
that's cool.
more than anything, I was also grateful I didn't wound anything.
Yes.
Because that is like my worst. I'm more worried about that than anything else.
So day one, you get to let an arrow fly,
Yep.
and then
I was stoked.
yeah. Oh no, that's a huge. I mean, it's
Stoked.
kind of a bucket list.
Yeah.
Like every little moment, I think with archery or bow hunting is, I get these little milestones, and in and of itself is a huge bucket list item.
100%. And it was a great learning opportunity of like, okay, next time that happens and the first deer runs by, maybe I should take my rangefinder out and actually range where he's at and adjust before the other deer runs by, just in case.
Yeah.
So learning opportunity, great. The rest of the season was a lot different. I was putting stocks. I had one target buck in mind, and after that first day, I was like, okay, I really want to kill one deer and not the others. And so I had another opportunity at that same deer later on that I didn't even draw my bow back. He was bedded behind a bush. It was probably, again, 20 yards. And he was out of there so fast, I don't think I would have got a great shot on him.
Yeah.
But I had him there, but the deer I wanted to chase was another 40 yards down the hill. And I was trying to get to him. So,
wow. And who has kind of taught you and brought you along all this? Because, I mean, you've got the hunting side.
yep.
And this was, I found this in my own journey, was I was really good at shooting a bow. I was not good at hunting. Those are two very different things.
I think the hunting side was definitely more like
You're there.
somewhat experience from the other hunts I'd been on. And that comes from family, as well as my brother had hunted a little bit of archery. He was also fairly new. So a little bit from him, and then just talking to people, watching some YouTube videos. It was trial by fire. I messed up a lot.
Yeah.
I had one time the deer I wanted to kill. My goal was just to kind of pattern him and see where he was going. So my bow is in the truck. I'm just planning on sitting on the hill. I'm watching down 300 yards. They kind of do the same thing, feed out into this meadow every night. And I was like, I just want to know where he's going so I can go set up and ambush him.
Jeez.
That night, he happened to be, it was probably 100 yards away from me, level with me on the hill, and I saw him, but my bow was in the truck. And so I had to run like a quarter mile back to the truck
Oh
to
my
get my bow.
gosh.
So I will never do that again. But
Have you ever left your release at the car?
no, luckily no.
Don't do that. I don't like that one.
I usually with my bow, I use a wrist release. But
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
attach my wrist release to my bow when I'm done shooting so that I have it next time I go to shoot.
Oh man. So were you just kind of like, I've got a few minutes, I'm going to go peek and see what I see when you didn't take your bow
That
with
day?
you?
No, my entire plan was I just wanted to watch that night. And so I was like, he's going to be down. He's been down every other night, and he wasn't.
Oh man. Did you make it?
Yeah. That was the same day I didn't take the shot on the other deer. I ended up spooking a 2-point he was probably 40 yards before I got to where the big one was, and they took off down the hill. And
So you run back, you go get your bow,
Yep.
and he was still there.
My wife was with me, luckily, so I was like, watch him. I'll be right back. Tell me where he goes. And he was in this long strip of like sarvisberry thick brush.
Yeah.
And he was feeding out toward us, and he just turned around and kind of fed back into there. So we didn't know exactly where he was.
Okay.
But I was just trying to sneak down where I could be in a position that when he moved, I could get an opportunity, and got busted by a 2-point. So,
Dang. Wow. Okay.
yeah. that good patience. Take your bow with you. Learning experience.
Basics. The other thing I obsess over is when I'm grabbing my bow out of the car, I always pull all my arrows out and just make sure I have broadheads.
Yeah.
Like I've never made that mistake, but the word kill comes to mind. Yep. Is like I pull my bow out and I'm like, I'm going to go kill a deer. Mm-hmm. And it's like the K word, right? Yep. It's like everything I do has to be centered around killing this deer. So release, bow, broadheads, like all these. But all the other extras, because we carry a lot of extras, we pack our fears, as people say, those can get in the way too. Like, do you feel like you ever got over obsessed with gear and you're like, man, I'm carrying all this crap around, but really, have you gone through that a little bit?
Not really. I think I'm new enough that even you mentioning checking broadheads or checking release, like I haven't experienced that. Now I'm going to be checking those things. As far as gear, I'm very fortunate in where I'm able to go in that, like, I'm hunting private land. So
cool.
Like, there's really not a lot of deer pressure. I'm probably getting more opportunities than a lot of people would get. And I'm very grateful for that. And I try to be grateful for that.
That's cool.
But at the same time, I'm also going fairly light on the gear, right? I have my rangefinder, I have my binos, I have a backpack with a jacket in it now. Cause after that first day freezing to death, I decided I wanted a jacket with me, some water. And that a wind checker in my bino pouch, my binos, and that's really all I'm carrying with me, like a light backpack.
Do you hunt primarily alone?
I'll try and get friends to go with me, but for the most part, yeah.
You know, one of the big turning points I had was I was hunting by myself so much, like for years. Yeah. I didn't go out with anybody. And there was this fear that, like, well, if we go, are you going to show me your spot? Should I show you mine? Like I was a little like, I didn't know the language.
Yeah.
So I just never invited anybody, but I went hunting. One of my first real hunts with somebody else was Jonathan McCormick, Redbeard.
Okay. Yeah.
And love Jonathan. He's an absolute stud. And we go out, we're elk hunting and we're kind of splitting off, and we might text or something. And I'm packing up a jet boil. I'm packing up 2 peak refuel meals. I'm bringing the kitchen sink, and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm going to be out there. I got to cook and all. He's like, just do it before or do it after. Like, don't bring all that stuff with you. Uh-huh. And that was a cool turning point. Like, I was kind of like, you're right. And so I did like granola bars, I think, and some snacks, and got through the day just fine. And so it's good to hunt with others because I could have learned a lot more faster.
I will say, I guess, I this year archery was primarily alone, or like my wife would come with me or my brother would come with me. But I had a couple friends that I invited to come with me, but it's like I'm the only one that had a tag for that unit. Yeah. And so it was primarily for me hunting. It was more, hey, let's have an extra set of eyes. Let's just go hang out on the mountain rather than like, hey, let's both go hunt at the same time. I haven't had as much of that unless it's just with family during a rifle hunt. And that's just whoever wants to go where can go wherever. If there's 2 people that want to go to the same spot, we figure it out and swap who goes where.
Are you seeing other archery users within your family, or is it kind of just you? Oh, no, it's just you.
It's just me. Yeah.
Wow. Why did you break out? Because you have such a lockstep hunting family. It sounds like I'm imagining
a little bit. My dad hasn't gotten a tag in like 10, 15 years.
Oh, geez.
All of my cousins and everything. Like, I think once they got to the point where they didn't have to hunt for meat anymore, none of them wanted to hunt anymore, which surprised me. It's great for me.
Yeah. Well, especially if the family has access to the private land, but you're like, I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Yeah. That's cool. What drew you into bow hunting?
Bow hunting? Working in the hunting industry, part of it, I get to have awesome conversations with people, as well as, more than anything, I enjoy being outdoors. And so getting the dedicated tag allowed me to hunt for 3 months instead of a week.
Yeah.
And so primarily that, like, I wanted to hunt longer as well as experience new things. Like, I had been fortunate enough to kill a few deer. Again, quite decent bucks.
Yeah.
But I wanted a little bit more of a challenge. And archery is definitely that.
Yeah.
I had, and no, pushing my limits is what I could do. Like rifle's easier. You can shoot 300, 400, 600 yards now, like with the rifles. And with archery, like for me personally, I wasn't willing to shoot over 60 unless it was a follow-up shot. Ideally 40 was my goal. I actually had my target buck one night. I was with my buddy Drake Staley. I don't know if you know him, West Hunters, but he came with me and had a camera, and we got to 77 on my target buck, and I had to lay my bow down so I didn't shoot an arrow.
Why didn't you want to shoot an arrow?
Great question.
It was too far.
I did. Ultimately I did want to shoot an arrow, but it was too far for me to feel confident in my shot and my ability to harvest the animal. And I'm sure if I had known that I was never going to see that deer again, then I probably would have risked it. But where I was the only one hunting there, I knew there was going to be zero pressure for the next 2 months. Like, why would I risk shooting an arrow at a deer at 80 yards when I'd only really been practicing to 60, wounding it, never seeing it again? And as well as ultimately going back, I don't want to harm the animals. Like, I think as hunters, we want the kill to be as quick and as ethical as possible. And so when I had that opportunity, but I wasn't confident in myself, I just decided not to take it at all.
That's probably one of the most powerful things, and I mean this, it's probably one of the most powerful things I've heard in all the interviews and all the podcasts I've done is I laid my bow down.
It was hard.
That's impressive. I commend
really
you.
It was really hard, and I'm grateful that Drake was with me. He wasn't pressuring me. He films hunts and whatever, films his hunts, and he had his camera. So, I mean, he's sitting there and he's like, dude, I'll film it for you if you want. But he goes, don't feel pressure. And I think it's good to have good influences in your life. That's probably one of the biggest things. He's like, don't feel pressure to shoot at this deer just because I'm here with a camera, or just because I'm here and you want to get it with your buddy. He's like, don't feel pressure at all. And so when I set it down, I had to set it down far enough that I wouldn't be tempted to reach for it again. But I set my bow down, and there was no way to get closer, right? He's up on the top of a pond, like bank. And then we had 4 other deer in between us and him.
Something's going to bounce.
So like and they're looking right at us. There's no way we could have gotten closer. Looking back now on that entire stalk, I was a little slow when I was further away, and I should have moved faster. If I would have moved faster, like in that first when I was 500 yards away, and then gone a lot slower when I was in the 200 to 100 yard away range, I think I could have gotten in an opportunity or a place where I could have had a better opportunity. But I didn't know that going in.
Oh man, so that I love that though, and I think too with the rise in social media, which I hit before that. I was actually influenced by a lot of the movies coming out with archery, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I was like, yeah, I want to get into this. But now there's this massive wave of social media and the shots and the stories and the on and on and on. I also think too, and your buddy's filming there, and there's a cool story in the fact that you set your bow down as well. And I think
definitely
sometimes capturing that on camera is just as important as hand on the antler and the grip and grin. And so I think that's something to embrace, and I love that.
For sure.
I'm glad you shared that.
We did not film the hunt, by the way, if anybody's out there looking for it. He was getting some B-roll while we were running down the hill. Just so he could make a little short whatever. I don't think he even filmed me setting the bow down because he was next to me, so I don't think he could get it in frame. He was kind of helping me range and things, which makes a huge difference as a beginner archer. If you have somebody there with you, being able to tell you like, oh, here's the range, here's the wind, and it's more noise, there's more of you, but so helpful rather than trying to manage it all by yourself.
I love that.
We got a little visitor.
Oh, we got our mascot here. Yeah, one of my favorite clips, actually, I just came from Black Ovis before they shut down, and we filmed a hunt. Craig Key and Kendall were on this rifle hunt, and Craig, So excited. 400 yards out, rifle hunt on cow elk. And it's a freezer filler.
Yeah.
It's actually a fun hunt to watch because there's no antlers. It's just we're at 4 feet of snow. And and so, Kendall gets up behind Craig, who's shooting, and he kind of shoves his shoulder up against Craig's shoulder, and he holds him super steady. And I'll never forget that. And it's just like this little small part of just like, there's someone else there with you, and how are they supporting you? And for him, it was physically supporting him. And so I like you're talking of risk a little bit of the noise, have someone there. And ironically, I was on another archery hunt with Craig, the same guy. I worked with him, and we were just out capturing content. I had my bow and a tag and saw a group of deer, and he's like, do you want to shoot? I was like, yeah, let's go. And he just was having someone there. There's an energy. It's really cool.
There really is. And once again, good influences help a lot. So Drake telling me like, don't worry about me. You just do you, as well as we got some awesome photos of the deer.
Oh man. That's cool.
I'll have to, I don't know if you can overlay photos, but I'll text them to you.
Yes, please do. Share. And then you did tag out though.
With a rifle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it.
So I ended up going back in my last day. Once the buck shed his velvet, I was seeing him every 3 to 4 days instead of every night.
Wow.
Which was a crazy mind blowing. And it was usually instead of seeing him for like 20 or 30 minutes as he'd come out, or finding him to give me enough time to potentially make a stock, it was I'm seeing him for 10 seconds and then he's gone.
And then your dedicated tag, you're on year 2 of 3. Correct?
Year 1, actually.
Oh, this season?
This year's year 2. Sorry.
Year 2. Yeah. Got it. Yep. So you're heading in, and how are you? Are you starting to get out scouting? As we're recording this is the last day of July. So are you getting out?
I've been out a couple times watching some deer. I haven't seen anything that like. There's probably a couple I would shoot with a bow, but nothing exciting enough that I'd be like, I'm going to get that one with my rifle like it was last year. So, it's been good. I actually did lose one more arrow. I guess I should say that at the end of the season, the last day on the same deer I missed the first day.
When you do find an arrow like a season later, it's like it's almost just as good as finding a shed antler. Like you're just like, yeah, treasure hunt.
I still haven't found my arrow.
Really? It's fun to go look for them too. Yeah. Like I like to go scout and whatever. And I'm like, I'm going to go back to the spot where it all went down and I missed. And that's a good feeling.
We went back. We didn't find it. I went back mostly to make sure I hadn't injured the animal. Because it was one of those, I'm walking out through the open trying to get to a different deer, and I hear a noise and look up, and he's standing at 20 yards, and I'm freaking out, and I try and draw, and my peep's twisted, and I don't know why the peep was twisted, but that was the most frustrating thing ever. And so I kind of just guessed. Flung an arrow. I was not as disciplined in that event as I was in the others. I probably should have just let the bow down and not. But
emotionally, it is hard to injure an animal because I've done it. I've done it multiple times.
I think if you bow hunt, it'll happen at some point. Luckily, I haven't bow hunted long enough. So.
It will happen. And I remember, and I think a good sign is when you feel it and you call a few friends and you say, what do I do? That in and of itself means you care. Yep. And I think if you're just flinging and you're just like, oh, whatever, I missed or they ran off. But I did a gut shot one time. That was awful. It smells so bad. Like it stinks so bad. And then just had one or two others. It's hard.
I can't even fully relate. My brother's been hunting, and I mean we tracked one deer a couple miles. With blood, didn't find it. Same thing with an elk. Like you would have thought that his shots would have been great. His deer one, I think there's a spot right above the heart and lungs that like if the arrow goes through, they bleed, but they don't die. Wow. Like we ended up seeing this deer later, and I mean we tracked it. We brought in dogs. We did everything we could and just never could find it. And same deal with the elk. Like, I mean, we were finding puddles of blood. Never found the elk.
Jeez, that is wild.
Once again, I had I haven't personally experienced it. I'm sure there will be a point. Even the deer that I missed, I was pretty sure I missed, but we went up the next day. I shot kind of right as it was getting dark, and we went up the next day, and I looked for the arrow. I looked for blood. We walked all over the place and never found anything.
Jeez. Yeah, and emotionally, it's just like my dad always used to say, because I would call my dad, and I'd be like, before he died, I'd be like, and he's like, the coyotes have to eat too. And I'm like, yeah, but I wanted to eat it. Like, I get the life cycle, but I wanted that. I wanted it. And it wasn't antlers. It was meat. I've always been a meat hunter. I don't know where that comes from. But antlers are cool. Don't get me wrong. But honestly, I like eating does. I think they taste better.
I shot a cow elk for the first time last year instead of a bull, and we'd always had bulls before. Best elk meat ever.
Oh,
I will probably get a cow tag from here on out just so I can go get a bunch of steaks and burger and also find another excuse to get out more.
I know. Oh, the cow elk steak. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my son shot kind of a younger cow elk last year, and it was we hung it for 16 days.
Wow.
Oh, it's just world-class meat. It's so good. Good. Well, switching gears, talking about gear a little bit. So you're with Dark Energy. How long have you been with them?
I've been with Dark Energy for about 3.5 years.
When did the company start?
Like 15 years ago. I tell people and they're like, whoa, seriously? Because it is way longer than you'd think. We've really grown a lot in the past 3 or 4 years.
Okay. Did it start out kind of general outdoor? Like, tell me about that evolution of hunt versus hike versus car camping.
Yep. So when it originally started, Garrett, our CEO, our founder, he started it with some buddies at the time when portable batteries weren't really a thing. So we think of it now like there's all these phone chargers, all of that. There weren't a lot of them. He started it in college, and it was kind of just more a general portable battery company. And that's what they started with. And then it actually started more in hunting than anything else. He went on a hunt down in the Tusher Range here in Utah, got hit by some of those monsoons, and all of his batteries shorted out because of the rain.
Oh, okay.
So he, being an engineer, went back and was like, I need something better, something that can go with me when I'm out, that I can rely on to keep my gear charged. And so he built what was our Poseidon, now is very similar to our Poseidon Pro, and have grown from there. A lot of the new stuff is within the last couple of years. New solar panels, new bigger batteries, smaller batteries, stuff that better fits a larger variety of people. But our core starting audience was hunters and keeping phones and gear charged. I mean, we're getting more and more to the point where there's so much gear that is rechargeable. Headlamps, our phones and Onyx, our who knows what. Water sterilizers can be rechargeable. So.
Yes. No, there is so much. Yeah, I have the UV water sterilizer, and I think I'm finding more and more as a hunter, if I can be somewhat connected to home, I'll want to stay out longer.
Yep.
I've had those times where I just book at home. I have a bad day, I miss a shot, and I'm like, pack it up, I'm out of here. And I'm by myself generally. Mm-hmm. And so I bought a Starlink this year. And I'm pretty stoked about it because I'm like, I work remote. I have that flexibility, thankfully, now. If I can stay out another day or two, I mean, that elk hunt last year in Moab I did with my son, I was ready to go home. We had a flat tire. We had to run to town. It was this whole thing. And I was like, I'm out. Like, I just want to shower. And my son was like, let's give it one more day. And we shot it the next morning.
That's awesome.
So... there is that balance of no service, disconnecting, getting back to nature.
For sure.
But powering people another day, another afternoon, it makes all the difference.
For sure.
Yeah.
We actually, it's kind of really cool. The mission of Dark Energy and the history behind it. So we say the name and people are like, ooh, kind of epic, spooky sounding, whatever. Dark energy is actually a term in astrophysics, and it's the power causing the expansion of the universe. And so what they've termed that. So what we want people to do is use our power products to help them expand their universe, to stay a couple days longer, to push a little further than they've been before. And that's kind of the goal. We want to My boss has said it a couple times. We want to power people, like keep them physically powered, and we want to empower them to go and do more and be better, which is a really cool mission, I think.
I like that, expanding the universe. I knew there was a story, but I didn't want to look it up because I wanted to hear it from you. And I was like, I'm a big energy person, like just generally around people, and I think energy is critical. And so I like the name. Yeah, I was kind of curious, but that's cool. There's a little
That's like the
there.
very quick summary.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you ask somebody who understands it a little bit more, there'd be more to it.
I know. It's like, yeah, I got a 13 on the ACT. I don't know, but sounds cool.
I'm the marketing manager. My guy's to like consolidate it down a little bit and try to get the message out.
That's cool. What's your favorite piece of dark energy gear? Like big, small? What do you like to use the most?
If I had to pick one battery to go to, it would be the Poseidon Pro. Like, it is the perfect battery to get a couple phone charges out of. It's completely waterproof. It is tried, trusted, true. We have a couple others that are great, but that is my favorite. Well, that, and I haven't used it very much because it's brand new, but we just launched a headlamp, and I love headlamps. So very excited about that one.
I have a compartment full of headlamps. It's my headlamp compartment. And it's funny because I've got kids and we'll go camping. We're actually going camping tonight. And I'm like, all right, grab the kids' headlamps, like the Home Depot 3 for $20 headlamps. Yep. And then when it's my headlamp, I'm like Peaks Duo. Yep. You know, like I'm not. So when my kids ask for a headlamp, they're like, can I borrow one? I'm like, yes, these are the ones you can borrow.
This is yours. That's funny.
So it's out now?
Yep. It just came out. I mean, it's been out for a couple weeks.
Okay. Talk to me about the modes, the different lights.
Yeah, it's kind of more of like a budget version of the Peaks one is how I would describe it. It looks similar, works similar. I think we have 900 lumens max, similar battery size. You have 4 different white lights that it can go through and 3 different red lights.
3 different shades of red light.
Brightnesses.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah. You know, that's, as I see the red lights, I feel like it's on or off for most. There's not a fading with the reds.
Yeah.
Is what I've seen.
Yeah. Ours has 3 different brightnesses. Okay. I think on the lowest brightness, the battery life is ridiculous, like 36 hours or something.
Oh,
so we made them rechargeable because that's our core business is batteries. Like the headlamp's just an accessory, but
I like
it's cool.
Check
it out.
The other thing I think would be fun, as you're the marketing manager, and I've always wanted to do this myself. I'm in marketing and I'm, creating content, and it's so fun. But one thing I've been wanting to do is get across a canyon and have one guy across the canyon like filming, and then on the other side of the canyon show off like 4 or 5 different headlamps. Like here's headlamp 1, click. Yep. Here's headlamp 2. Here's brightnesses. I think it would be really cool, like in pitch black, a couple hundred yards away. Try to show the difference between those brightnesses. I think it would be even just understanding what's the difference between 1,000 lumens versus 400. Right. Because I mean, if you're processing an elk at night, you just want to hang that thing above a tree and just blast light. You want to see everything because you don't want to cut your hand. You don't want to, but
we may have a really cool product coming in the next couple months that would be great for that.
Yes. Because that's what I found myself doing. I don't actually like wearing a headlamp when I'm processing. And the reason why is I'm looking like this. My hand is doing that. Yep. Like you kind of you try to follow your hands as much as you can, but
no.
You need that umbrella dome. Yep. Maybe I'm skipping ahead.
I'll spoil it. We're a little bit out. This will be the official teaser. You can launch it whenever. Fine. It's called the Sentinel. It's a telescoping light. So all in all, it's probably 1.5 feet. It's super thin, like maybe an inch diameter. It has a stand that flips out and then it telescopes up to 6 feet and is like a 900 lumen light. Like it's perfect for exactly what you just mentioned.
I'm sitting here like, and if you could do this,
and we have one coming.
That's
so
amazing.
I mean, it can go wherever. It's actually really cool. It has
love
a
it.
magnetic base, so you can, like, if you're working on a vehicle, you can stick it to the vehicle. It has a hook, so if you want to hang it from a tree, it'll do the same thing. It has I think like 1,000 lumen flashlight. I don't remember the exact lumens, so don't quote me on that, but it has a very bright flashlight as well. It has a remote, so if you're across camp and want to turn it on, you can turn it on. So
that's cool.
It'll be a cool piece of gear. I haven't personally gotten to my hands on one to test yet.
I love it. Well, and I think too with gear, it's fun to get gear, but for someone new, and even like for me, I was new to hunting and bow hunting. And so sometimes those comforts I think are really important. And nowadays you don't necessarily need the Garmin InReach. I have T-Mobile. I don't know if other carriers do this, but they have that SOS function where I can be, or it's a satellite function. Yes.
All iPhones, like newer iPhones now, have satellite texting. I will say it's very clunky.
Yes.
It can be very frustrating. I had to text my brother last year to come help me with my elk, and I literally sent him a pin of where I was and said, bring these two things. And that was all I could get out.
Wow.
And
he found you.
He got the message. He came in. He found us. We were good to go. But
That's sick.
It was very, like, some of the other gear is very nice to have.
Yeah.
If you can get it.
Yeah, just some of those comforts. I don't think to feel bad about that. It's like, but well, cool. Well, what is your Instagram? How can people get a hold of you, Brayden? Because you've got some cool stuff. I actually like your personal content, and then just the dark energy.
I don't put out a ton of content. You're welcome to follow me. My public account is Outdoor Staples, something like that. And then my personal, if you really want to connect with me there, is b.staples.
Cool. So. And then Dark Energy, is it just Dark Energy?
Dark Energy Tech is our official Instagram.
Yep.
So
cool. So if you've got questions, jump in there. It sounds like you guys are high tech. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like there's a little bit more science to it. You're not just cranking out whatever. You're very thoughtful, it sounds like.
Yes, they've spent a lot of time engineering our products to be very reliable when you're out.
Cool.
And we can check out the website. We try and walk through all of that there. If anybody on your podcast wants a discount code, maybe we can throw one in the description for them
sure.
or whatever.
Happy to. Yeah, watch for that in the show notes. We can get something. And then the other question I had, with something like a Starlink, I don't think it draws a ton of power.
It does not.
But I'm curious, like, what's the smallest power box that you think would work for that?
Great question. Are you talking Starlink or Starlink Mini?
Mini.
So the Mini is a lot less of a draw, which is really awesome.
I love it.
We have our Poseidon XL battery that was actually made for that.
No way. Okay.
The biggest thing is the startup for the Starlink Mini. You have to be above 65 watts, I believe, is the total. And so we have a 100-watt USB-C output on our battery. And so battery capacity wise, it'll run it for like 2 to 3 hours just off of the battery by itself. We also have a solar panel that will actually charge the battery faster than you can drain it with the Starlink.
Okay.
So it's a wonderful setup. But the Poseidon XL Starlink Mini, 65 watts, your draw eventually drops to about 20 watts.
And then I've been looking at the cords. It's got the wall plug charger. Is there a converter to that wire?
There is.
Okay. Because I do want to get it to a USB-C.
You can unplug it. We don't sell one. You have to order it off of Amazon. I think they're like $10. You just need a DC connector to USB-C. Okay. I typically just search like Starlink to USB-C. And it'll pop up.
Okay. I'm asking too much, but
no, those are great questions.
Tinkering a little bit for those who, because Starlink, it's $199 for the hardware, the mini.
Yep.
And then it's like $55 a month. And you turn it on, turn it off. It's, it's pretty reasonable to get out there. And, I'm getting my kids out there more. But just safety wise, if I could stay in there a day or two and my wife is like, cool, I'm hearing from you. Even a FaceTime. I mean, how fun would that be, honestly? Right. But no, we'll keep, but yeah, jump into Dark Energy, take a look what they're doing and watch so the headlamp's out. Okay.
New lights are coming later, probably 2 months is where we're looking at.
Would you say every year you're coming out with something new pretty frequently?
It's been a lot more recently.
Yeah.
When I started, it was 1 or 2 products. This year, I think we've had 5 so far and have 3 more.
Wow.
Next year, probably about that same amount.
Jeez.
So lots of new stuff coming, lots of exciting stuff coming, different sizes of power so that we can hit more needs people have.
Man, I love it. Well, I appreciate you sharing your first season with us. I think it's cool to kind of hear it fresh.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get a little like we forget, and you get so many years, but it's fun to hear about a first season too. And like the patience you talked about.
Tried to. There were a lot of things.
Yeah.
We could go into more of that. I had more issues with the bow. I would highly recommend going to a bow shop and getting the bow set up there. They know a lot more than a first timer does. I learned that the hard way. The other thing that I would recommend is, like, in my experience with archery, you don't need the newest thing on the market. Like, a few-year-old bows work just as well. I'm shooting a Hoyt Torix, 10-year-old bow this year, and like it's gonna work great.
It's probably a less than 2% margin of change in a couple years. My favorite bow to shoot is the RX1 Hoyt. That sucker's like 7 years old. Like, they're on so many iterations of the RX, and I'm like, I just like it. I love it. And then I also I did get the new AX1, the aluminum. Dude, that thing is like Optimus Prime, bro. Like, it blasts through walls. It's so fun. But my son shoots the Torix, and he enjoys it. So you're on a Torix. What arrows are you shooting?
Right now I'm shooting Easton 5mm FMJs. So
powerhouse, tried and true.
Yep.
Yeah. What broadhead you going with this year?
I haven't decided yet. I'll probably only be hunting deer. I have a couple different ones. I have some severs. It's kind of funny because you talk to people about broadheads, and I'll just say this in archery. Everybody has their own opinion.
I know.
I think you need to get out. I talked to one person who is like, I've tried all these other ones. This is the one I would recommend, and it happened to be the severs. I talked to another guy who he's like, I would not shoot the severs at all. And so, like, two very opposite.
I know.
Have both shot everything. So I think what it comes down to is probably more personal opinion. I would definitely go get some nicer broadheads and test them. Yeah. But I know they're also kind of expensive. So
I know. Yeah. And I lean towards people more fixed that first year because I'm telling you, man, I love the severs and I've had good experience. I had an amazing kill with them, but they're, if you knock the little thing off or if it's flopsy, I mean, that's mechanicals.
Yep.
They can move, they can shift. I shot Rage in the very beginning, good old Rage. And I'll tell you, there's nothing worse than pulling back and you see the blade just fall. And you're just like, oh my gosh. Like, it's terrifying. And so
maybe I should switch to fix. I haven't decided what I'm going to do. I still have my QAD Exodus. Yeah. I still have some other options. I haven't picked. I have some severs now. I have some like G5 meats.
So the G5, the VX, it's the 4-blade. That is a fantastic, sharp, nutty broadhead. It is so sweet. So I like the G5s with the replaceable blades. Yeah. They're easy to replace, actually. But the Montec, it's an all-in-one. It's just a big chunk of steel. It's solid. One. It's solid. So I actually am a G5 fan. Okay. I don't have any relationships with broadheads here on the show. But Sever, I'm impressed. But they did create a magnetic one recently.
I just saw that.
Dude, yeah. Like that O-ring, if you lose it, you're done.
I've heard a lot of that.
You're done. So, no, it's good. Well, Brayden, I appreciate you coming on, and make sure to connect with Brayden and share stories. And we'll have you back on and see how this season goes. Okay. But yeah, man, I'm stoked for you.
Well, thank you.
Well, if you guys have got time, make sure to forward this to another first generation bow hunter and maybe somebody who's just starting out, just like me, just like Brayden. It's time to get out there and have some fun, try something new. It's freaky. I get it. There's a lot. So make sure to skim back some old episodes. My number 1 episode is actually number 4. What bow, arrows, and broadheads should you use? Go take a look at that. There's a library of information. And make sure to check out Darn Tough. They are a sponsor of the show, Darn Tough Socks. They're the best, and they're going to keep you out there longer. That's what it's about. That's how you're going to get more success. Don't go back to the truck quite yet. Stay out a little bit longer. Keep those feet nice and comfortable. And if you got time, jump on Apple iTunes, drop a review, and Spotify, give a little rating if you so please. And connect with me, Adam_Buchanan on Instagram. You can ask me anything, and we are in season. So I'm going to start getting questions, and they are going to be featured right here on First Generation Bowhunter. All right, thanks. See you on the next one.